Welcome to the Bearded Bama Bushcrafter. I am turkey hunting once again today. It is Friday. It's Good Friday. What a beautiful day. Look at that bluebird sky. I am once again trying to locate a gobbler. Man, this is a pursuit of frustration. I'm on public land today, so the odds are definitely against me. Coming to hunt on public land is a challenge. Hunting in itself on private land is a challenge, but more so on public land, because you don't know who's been in before you and who comes in after you and what they're doing and what they're not doing. It's funny though, I did get a crow to respond, so I hear a crow. And I've just been kind of slipping along this little area. Just trying to see if I can get one of these late afternoon birds, or late morning, early afternoon, I should say. Because I don't have much more time, and you can only hunt a certain time down here into the day. And then you have, as far as turkey hunting goes, then you have to call it quits. So I want to ease on around up through here. There's a nice creek bottom, and I'm gonna just set up and start calling. Hadn't heard any gobbles whatsoever, so see what we can do. All right, so what I've done is I'm just gonna set up and start calling. I've not heard any gobbling, but I know turkeys can be anywhere around you. So I'm gonna sit here, just start calling, and see if I can get a bird to respond. I worked my way off this hill that's behind me, and I got into some real thick stuff. And this is still thick, but it's more open, more apt for turkeys to be moving around in here. So I'm gonna see what happens here, and maybe I can get a bird to respond. Y'all stand by. It is a beautiful day down here. And you would think, coming to a place like this, these birds would be gobbling. And they may be gobbling in the morning, right at dawn. But I've been here for set up in this spot now for about 15 minutes. And I've been calling a little bit, just trying to see if I can get one to respond. But I'm into the last hour that I can hunt into the afternoon. So if something don't happen in the next 55 minutes, I'm not going to have an opportunity. I keep hoping one would just start gobbling. Sometimes they just walk in on you, not even making a noise, except all of a sudden there they are, standing there looking at you like, and they bust you because you're sitting around making a video or fiddling with a call or something. Because this does take a lot of patience and being quiet and being still. And it is a tough challenge. These birds can hear and see. If they could smell, I don't believe we could ever kill them. I hear woodpeckers, I've heard some crows, the wind's picking up a little bit, but no turkeys yet. All right, well, I sat there for about 35 or so minutes, and I have about 35 minutes left. It's 1 p.m. Central Time, but you have to stop turkey hunting during the day. But that makes it 2 my time, because I run on Eastern Time. I'm going to make me a big circle. I don't like backtracking. I like looking at new ground, so fixing to bust off down through here to a creek and then head up to the hardball road. I'm going to do a little calling along the way. I mean, sometimes you can get a bird to respond and set up, and he almost runs over you. We've had those I remember my dad and I hunting, and those textbook turkey hunts, you locate, set up, and almost before you could get set up right, turkey's in gun range. But hunting public land, this is a whole different ball game and level of expertise, I guess. So I'm going to ease off down through here and excuse me, see what we can hear, see what I can find. So stand by. It doesn't take long to come up on stuff. I don't know how well this is showing up on the camera, but all this disturbed area is where hogs have been in here. And I'll say we have an epidemic in this country now with feral hogs. And those things are so detrimental to the natural environment. They will eat anything and everything they can. I know they eat turkey clutches, a clutch of eggs. They'll eat those. They'll eat fawns, baby deer. Shoot, they'll eat you if they had an opportunity. If you're wounded, a hog would just. Those are some very dangerous animals. And I kind of find it ironic how the state is implementing all these ideas on seasons of when we can turkey hunt and deer hunt, but yet they're really not doing much on allowing us to, because they have laws about these hogs, and that's kind of weird to me that these creatures are protected like they are. We should be able just to shoot these things whenever, night, day. I think there's some laws that's passed recently that you can shoot hogs at night, and I know back during the deer season I was not far back up here behind me in my climber, and I had a bunch of hogs down in here feeding, and I never could get a good shot on one, because I sure would have liked to kill some of them things. They're like coyotes, but I'd prefer the coyotes over the hogs. I want the hogs gone. Check out this bottom I'm in. Look at all these palmettos. It's real wet. A lot of hog sign in here. That's probably why I'm not hearing any turkeys. I know there's turkeys in here. I saw some tracks coming in. And check this guy out. Whee! Look at him. Well, a little silkworm, that's what we call him. That's not a real silkworm. A little caterpillar. Where'd he go? There he is. See him? Oh, he's gone. Well, he's over here. Get closer to this creek. I hear some crows. When I hear birds like that, especially the crows or owls, I like to listen, because sometimes they'll make those gobblers shot gobble. This is you can see this white sand over here. There's a creek, beautiful creek. But this bottom right here just seems like there would be turkeys. And I've seen turkeys in here. I got on a bird a few years ago, just across the road in this same bottom. And he was a big old bird, but he had some hens with him. And I couldn't get up on him enough to get within gun range. Nothing. All right, I'm seeing something kind of keep in mind. If you're in a creek bottom and you want to do some camping, be careful. Especially, I want you to see this stuff right here. Water was up here at one time due to flooding. And this is a deep creek. This creek is probably not the water, but down to where the creek is naturally. I bet it's 10 or 20 feet in some spots. So think about the amount of rain, and you can see all here around me. If you were set up here camping, you'd get flooded out, washed away with flash flood. You have to keep that in mind when you're out doing stuff. But I don't think we have to worry about that today. But always keep that in mind when you're around creeks and rivers about flooding, the potential hazard of that, of a flash flood. Because it could be up the way from you and you're not paying attention. Next thing you know, you're in danger. Look how pretty this creek is. Some of the sand is as white as the sand that you'll find down at the Gulf of Mexico. If you look, that's pretty deep down in there. So imagine all the rain that it took for that creek to flood up through here. It happens. I've bow hunted in here, and this is a good little bottom. There's a lot of game in here. I'm seeing a lot of tracks as I'm walking, so there's still always there's hope, right? Check these trees out. This is the mighty river birch. These are the type of birch trees that grow in our area. Real papery bark. A lot of use out of these trees. Really expensive trees for the landscape. Very expensive. But these are growing naturally. They are native to this area. Betula nigra, I believe, is the scientific name. I'm going to walk out here on this sandbar, see what we can see from here. Now where I'm standing here, I'm seeing some blue marks, but the yellow marks, that is the boundary marks for the public land here on the management area. Man, there are some large canine tracks, which there are people that live around this area. I once heard this guy here that adjoins, that used to be cow pasture over there, but now it's planted pines. And if he heard you turkey hunting, he'd get on his tractor or foal or something and run up and down the boundaries trying to scare off the game. I don't know why people want to be like that. You got all this property and you're worried about what's going on the property next to you. We're funny creatures, I tell you that. Humans, we are funny. As I'm walking up to this spot, I just got to think about some things. Here in the state of Alabama, the state is acquiring a lot of land over the past few years through Forever Wild, where people will donate their land, private landowners, and they donate it to the state. And that's a good thing because, well, it's kind of a double-edged sword, I think. Because I've been noticing that when the state acquires land, they set up some pretty stringent laws and rules to follow. And some of these public places are special opportunities, they call them. And the only way you can actually go and hunt on them is through a lottery system. And that kind of frustrates me. Because those lotteries, alligator hunting here in Alabama is lottery set up. And these, what do they call, special opportunity SOAs or something like that, special opportunity areas. And it once was private land. And, you know, it's funny, the state can get it or it gets developed. But, you know, if you can hunt on private land, you're pretty fortunate. Because state has its regulations and laws for hunting and fishing. But you come down here to this management area, and it's like being in a uppity hunting club. And they have all these laws, these rules, certain days you can't shoot this, can't shoot that. And I understand the management, and it has its place, but man, it really makes it tough. Like, what if I got on a bird here? 15 minutes, I'd have to kill it to be legal. So it's kind of one of them things. Because sometimes I've been on birds late in the afternoon and shoot them as they're going to roost. But can't do that down here. Here's an old boundary marker. I hope I'm not sounding ungrateful when I'm talking about state-owned land. It's funny to me how the government works, especially the federal government. But it's like the government forgets that public property is owned by the people. However, when it becomes state-owned or federally owned, the access is very limited in some areas, and sometimes there's no access to the public whatsoever. And the funny thing about that is that land belongs to the people. If you're a taxpayer, if you're a law-abiding citizen, that land is yours. And we should be able to, I'm not saying go in there and just do whatever we want to do. You've got to protect it. And I hope I'm not coming across as being not of understanding about management and conservation. But I just think about how you can't come down here to the management area certain times of the year, and there's a lot of opportunities to ride mountain bikes, but the roads close, I think, right at the end of turkey season, which is now into a couple of days in May, and they don't open until sometime in September. And I remember talking to the biologist one time, could you come down here and park at the office and ride mountain bikes? And he said you can't even do that. And that's a shame, because there are all kind of opportunities for riding bikes and hiking. And that's kind of an example of, why is it like that? Why cannot we come down here in the off season and do a little riding on the roads? As long as you're not tearing something up and you're on a bicycle or walking, what's the harm? It's kind of like trapping. I love to trap, but they don't really make it very friendly to trap, especially down here at the management area. I know one thing, you have to be very careful when you set traps. If you trap somebody's dog, there's a lot of, you can get in trouble. And it seems like, the person, if they have their dogs out here running around, you need to keep in mind that people may be trapping, because trapping, especially trapping predators like coyotes and your smaller predators like the fox and coons, you would think that would be welcomed. And to me, that's part of conservation. And that is a proper way to help control something. Coyotes are some of the worst predators, because they will eat anything and everything. And they were one time not even in this part of the country. They were brought here, and man, they adapt and survive. They're very adaptive animals, that's for sure. And now they're just kind of a naturalized animal here. But I think it was brought, I cannot remember when, but at one time coyotes, there was a red wolf in this area, buffalo and elk. I know I've read stories about them in the 18th century were in this area. Now we have elk a little further up north in East Tennessee, West North Carolina. Black bear used to be abundant, but now that's kind of a scarce animal here, especially in Alabama. But you get up into those areas of the mountains, they actually have seasons where you can hunt black bear. But I just kind of think of, it seemed like they would want to have trappers more involved in the conservation, as far as like, they're thinking now that the turkey population is down, and I'm starting to believe it. But when you look and see how many coyotes you come across and these wild hogs, I think that's a big part of it. And it seems like they would be making that more of a kind of more inviting for people to get out and shoot hogs and to trap or shoot coyotes for that matter. I was just stopping here for a moment. I got to hearing some hawks screaming. And that's another sound that'll get turkeys to gobble. For these red tails, these little sharp shins, when they're calling. But I have not heard a gobble. But it wouldn't matter now unless he'd come running in, because I have 10 minutes and then shooting time's over for the day. I'm gonna get up here to this hardball and hoof it back to the truck. So I was looking to see if I could find some shed antlers. Hopefully one day while I'm making a video, we're gonna find something like that. That'd be cool. Share on the video. Here's a cool little native plant that grows in our area. A lot of people confuse this with poison ivy. This is Virginia creeper. If you notice, it has 5 leaves. Poison ivy has 3. And I've had a lot of folks call me on that, and they're scared to death of it. But that is not going to hurt you. Poison ivy, on the other hand, it can mess your day up. Especially if you don't pay attention to it, and you're out in the woods, and you've got nature's calling you, and you pick that to clean your bottom. gonna have you in a very bad way. I came up on this. I remember when this was something to do with growing trees. But it looks like they abandoned it. I wonder how much of our tax dollars went to this for them just to abandon it. And I know in this video it probably sounds like I am against all this. I'm not. However, when I come down here, I love coming down here, and I appreciate the biologists. I appreciate the law enforcement. But just some of the stuff I see. Like this past year, I saw the game warden set up at a crossroads, and they passed a law that you can't have. I may be wrong on this, but I think you're supposed to have your gun in a sleeve, in a case, and you cannot even have any rounds in a magazine, like a rifle or shotgun. Now, if you're carrying a handgun, listen to them hawks. You can have that on you. That's a pair. I think that's a red tail. Couldn't see it that well. But anyway, to get back to what I was saying. And now they have that as basically a law. And I was set up one day in a deer stand, and I was at a place where I could see. And I got to noticing these men, and I figured out it was game wardens. And they basically had a checkpoint set up. And it's like, you know, they were stopping people and checking to see if any weapons were what they considered loaded. I mean, I can understand the loaded thing, I guess. You know, I don't know what they're trying to do. I guess it's all in the name of safety. That seems to be the thing with most laws of the land, is to our safety. And I just was sitting up there, and a few people had citations written. You could tell by how the actions were and them writing. And I don't know how much a citation is. I don't want to find out. But it seems like every year they make more rules. And it's like, we have enough rules. Why do we want to make more? But that's just kind of some of the things that are on my mind when I come down here. And I keep a copy of the map and regulations in my pocket, because you get in trouble if you don't have that on you, along with your state hunting license. So, oh man, it's a big cat track. Wow, that's a big cat track too. Look at this. Let me see if I can get this camera positioned. Hold on a second. Let's see if I'm right there. Big old cat track. Probably a big old Tom bobcat slipping down through here. But earlier I was talking about trapping, and I've gotten my trapper's permit from the state, and then you get down here, you got to get with a biologist and get another permit, which it doesn't cost anything, but you just, it's like there's just a lot of paperwork in these apps of filling in what you shoot and where you shot it, when you shot it, male, female, all kind of stuff. But I guess that goes with management, huh? All right, this is one of my longest videos. I unloaded my gun. I'm at the road, so I'm gonna walk up the road back to where I parked. But check this out. Talks about the conservation here and programs they got set up for the wildlife and fisheries here in the state, and for our enjoyment of current and future. So that's pretty cool. I know there's a purpose and a reason for a lot of these rules and regulations, but we've already got so many. So why do we need to keep making more? But to keep making more. Somebody done killed my hog.